this is the interesting one. Uh, I just remember like when I was preparing for this fight and I was looking like Roman Kopylov, like it didn't sounded familiar. Like, and then I started watching the fight and I was like, oh, I watched this fight. Like I instantly become fan of that guy. Like um, even though he has only two fights in UFC, the last one I watched live, and like he bought me. Like
Yeah.
he's the Luke Rockhold before the Luke Rockhold. That's so similar. Yeah, honestly, like that's.
Yeah.
I was rewatching today, and I was like, okay, this guy was a Luke Rockhold before the Luke Rockhold. Number one, it's about middleweight. Okay, it's a middleweight division, and he was like in the third round against his last opponent, also Russian guy. Sorry, Duraev, Albert Duraev. He put his hand on his thigh in standing like twice. Like I think mouth guard fall off his mouth three times because like Duraev broke his nose in the second round from ground and pound,
Yeah.
and in third round he came and like really he was like arms on the thigh and then start punching. Like really talented guy, like good stand up, like southpaw, his hands flying fast. Like only thing like he's too much hand oriented. I don't
Mhm.
see him trying too much kicks, and even like his stance is like heavy on the front leg, and that's actually cost him lost in the first match against who he went Carl Robertson because he chopped his front leg,
Yeah.
and then at the end he managed to finish him, but again uh, I give the props because he thought he was down on the points, and he really picked up the pace, and I think that caused him to make a mistake. And if you guys go back to both of his defeat, even like when Duraev got him in the last fight and took him down, he had really good takedown defense. And then after the referee warned him, he was grabbing the cage, and they put them back in some situation. And I think he didn't manage. Um, does his concentration got breakdown by that? He didn't understood the best. Like he took him so easily, and that's
Mhm.
what really broke the match. Because when he was on the ground, he didn't manage to get up. Duraev really fast got to mount and broke his nose, and I think finished that round in the mount. And then in the third round, he came back, even though his nose was broken, mouth was wide open. Like I said, mouthpiece was three times on the floor.
Yeah.
He was Luke Rockhold before the Luke Rockhold. So that was really interesting. And also coming back to his first loss and first match in UFC against Robertson, also referee took away the point before that he went and he lost on
Oh,
the choke. So maybe like that influenced his that interruption and referee warning him influence like his concentration or whatever, because I really find him talented. Like
mhm.
um, Southpaw, his hands are so lightning fast. Like when their coach is also in that third round in his first match against Robertson, and they say mix it up, you can do much better. He even went for a takedown. This I think how talented that guy is. He didn't have number one, I think, luck in UFC so far, and
Mhm.
number two, I think like he's for some reason don't mix it up how much he can. So I
Yeah.
expect like they say, third one is a lucky charm. I really expect that we're gonna see the best edition of him, and I can see him winning against Alessio, who is like I think at the end of the career in UFC. Like he's already 7 years there. Um, he is like he had like three losses, sorry, in the row, and then he managed to get that really nice high kick
That
that gave
was
him
good.
performance of the night, and then right away in the next match he got like finished by a head kick like in less than
Yep.
a minute.
Yep.
So that's the big
17
question.
seconds. Yeah.
17 seconds, yeah, I know
Yeah.
it was less than a minute. So it's a question also, like he's coming after KO, and I think that's perfect chance for Kopylov, who bought me like since first time that I watched his fight, I was really cheering for him. So I can see him winning,
Mhm.
and their chances are pretty equal, like -115, -110. So I'm gonna go with Kopylov.
I am also picking Roman Kopylov. I like this guy, and he was actually undefeated coming into the UFC. So, that match against Carl Robertson where he got choked, like that was his first defeat. And I do agree, there is something like admirable about seeing a guy who's just like exhausted and beaten, but they still try to win the fight and they're still throwing leather. Like I think we all kind of relate to that, like the times that we've been exhausted and you just have to make that decision. Are you going to quit or are you going to keep fighting? And like to see that is admirable, win or lose. I do think it's kind of dangerous to be so heavy in like the boxing and not really utilize kicks, especially against Alessio, who does like to throw kicks a lot. Um, but like you said, like Alessio in his last five fights, he only won that one fight against Joaquin Buckley. And I think if it wasn't for that fight, maybe he wouldn't be in the UFC. And I think maybe both of these guys are kind of fighting for their place in the UFC, right? Roman hasn't been in the UFC as long as Alessio, but like he did lose two fights in a row. So I wonder, like, if both these guys are kind of feeling pressure to just keep their spot. That being said, I do like Roman's chances more. I like getting ready for this. I watched some of his fights before the UFC, and like that dude's a monster. So like, if he could, put it together on the big stage, so to speak, I do think he's gonna have enough to beat Alessio.
Yeah, I agree with you. And even like, what's his name? The his last match against Yasube Enomoto. I actually know that guy, and I was with him in Moscow one time when my friend was doing the match uh, there, and I watched Yasube against the guy who right away. Let me find what's his name, Albert Tumenov. He right
Okay.
away after that match, same with Yasube, he entered UFC, and I was like, when I was watching that guy, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be next contender in UFC." And for
Yeah.
some reason, he didn't show up. That I think. Let me see what he
Are you
did.
talking about Albert or Yasube?
No, I'm talking about Albert Tumenov, but they same
Yeah.
they went
I thought that
against.
guy was gonna be something big too, actually. Einstein, they call him.
Yeah, I think so. But let me see. No, actually, he did good. He had the first loss, and then he had like a three, four, five wins, and then yeah, then he lost from Gunnar and Edwards, and then he got cut off. But
Yeah.
like he did actually solid, like if now I was thinking he did even worse. But like I really thought for that guy that he's gonna be, you know,
Mm-hmm.
top dog. Same with this guy. I don't know what's going on. Like maybe some guys they're just not how to say adapting good. Like but now I think also like the fight is in Europe. It's in France. It's
Mm-hmm.
closer to
Right.
it's closer to the Russia. So there's not gonna be a big time change. So maybe that's gonna work also for him, and we can see like I said his back performance, and I think he got this one. If not, he's gonna change the organization. That's for sure.
Yeah. Alex, you've done a bit more traveling lately, east to west, than I have. But I heard this. I don't know if it's a myth that when you're traveling from like east to west, so like either Europe to America or Asia to America, it affects you more because of the time change than if you're coming from America to the east, like Europe or Asia. Is that
Honestly, Yeah, I know exactly what you. The worst jet lag that I ever had, it was like I think 2010 when I went back from Florida to Serbia.
Hmm.
I think I never had a jet lag coming to America,
Uh-huh.
and I think also depends like how you're gonna get a flight. Can you sleep in the plane? It's always gonna now. I always had like more problem going to the Europe. I don't know, am I
Mm,
opposite or whatever, but like
yeah.
in my experience, that was a problem for me. But also like I think I listen, if I'm not wrong, Bruce Buffer, because he's traveling a lot, and I pick up also like something like you want to sweat down. Like I think he's jogging every time, and he travel, he goes and he do his jog or some light training. That helps a lot. And I think also like how you're gonna connect your flights, because now when I go to Europe, I use like a overnight flight. So when I come over there, basically I sleep in the plane, so I have a whole day. I get like tired around 5 p.m., 4 p.m. I push that and then I go earlier to bed and I woke up in the morning. I'm good. And if I'm not lazy, I try to do some workout and that helps even more. So I think it's depends. For me, honestly, it was more problem going to the east in my
Hmm.
experience.
Interesting. Well, either way, Roman's not having to come all the way to America, so that could be a factor. I wonder how much that does play. Like the UFC debut is one thing, but also traveling and then also fighting in front of nobody, that's kind of weird, probably, especially for your UFC debut. So, yeah, I do think we're gonna see a better performance from Roman than maybe in his debut.
No, for sure. And if you go back, like I think what maybe like many fighters, especially from eastern part of the world, they don't take like mental preparation, because like exactly what we were talking, two times when the referee interfered, and even how did they say Turaev took him down. Duraev took
Mhm.
him down, and came directly to the mount. It was after the referee stopped the fight. He wasn't like really like if you guys go back to that situation, like he was really defending good takedowns, and then like he just like stopping he got
Mhm.
froze and
Yeah.
took him down so easily. So that also is like you can say like when he comes to UFC, that's the situation where you have to mentally prepare, like in the in the situation like something like that happens, who is mentally strong and go different situation through their head, they're gonna react faster. I guess he's like slowly adapter. So maybe like hopefully he adapt now to UFC, to procedure, how everything goes, and we can see like his full talent in this one.
Yeah, I'm hoping, and I think maybe the pressure is gonna kind of add to him. Hopefully that he can show up.